It was supposed to be the perfect day for Emily, a simple woman who rarely took time for herself. After months of juggling work, home, and endless family obligations, she finally decided to treat herself to a day at the city's most luxurious spa. She'd heard stories about its golden marble halls, calming waterfalls, and treatments fit for royalty. Emily saved up for weeks just to feel, for once, like she truly belonged somewhere grand. But little did she know, this day would change her life forever. When Emily stepped through the glass doors, she felt like she was walking into a dream. Soft music played in the background, the scent of lavender floated in the air, and attendants moved gracefully, offering guests chilled cucumber water and warm smiles. Emily, dressed in her simple clothes, felt slightly out of place, but pushed the thought aside. She reminded herself she deserved this break, just like everyone else here. But as she sat in the lounge, waiting for her massage, she noticed a few women whispering and glancing at her. At first, she ignored it, sipping her water and trying to relax. Minutes later, the whispers turned into sneers. A manager approached her with a polite but cold smile that didn't reach her eyes. Without lowering her voice, she said, "Emily's voucher must be fake, that someone like her couldn't possibly afford their services." Before Emily could even explain, 2 security guards appeared and told her she needed to leave immediately. Heart pounding, cheeks burning with humiliation, Emily stood up. Other guests stared, some amused, others pretending not to see. As she stepped outside onto the marble steps, tears welled up. She couldn't believe she was treated like this, all because she looked too plain for their standards. But just as Emily reached for her phone to call a cab home, a sleek black car pulled up in front of her. The window rolled down, revealing her husband, the same man no one here recognized as one of the city's youngest billionaires. He stepped out, eyes blazing with quiet anger. And when he asked her what happened, Emily could only whisper the truth. He turned to the spa's entrance, his voice low but sharp. What happened next left everyone inside, speechless, and none of them knew Emily was about to reveal a secret that would turn their world upside down. Emily's husband, Daniel, wasn't the type to make a scene, at least, not usually. He was calm, thoughtful, and always preferred to handle things quietly. But seeing his wife, the woman who stood by him before the wealth and the big deals, standing alone and humiliated on those cold steps, stirred something fierce inside him. Without another word, he gently took her hand, his grip firm, as if to tell her she wasn't alone anymore. Inside the spa, the manager was still talking to another guest when the glass doors swung open again. All eyes turned as Daniel stepped in, Emily close behind him. The same people who had looked down on her only minutes ago now watched the sharply dressed man with curious, nervous eyes. They didn't know his name, but they could sense he wasn't someone they could easily brush aside. Emily kept her eyes on the floor, her heart pounding. Memories rushed back how she and Daniel first met when he was just a young entrepreneur with nothing but big dreams and second-hand suits. She'd seen his late nights, his failures, his small wins that slowly became bigger. Together, they built their life from the ground up. What no one here knew was that while Daniel's name was on countless business papers, some of his biggest investments were quietly in Emily's name, including this very spa. As Daniel spoke in calm, icy words to the manager, Emily's mind raced. She could feel the weight of years of secrets, how she had let him manage everything while she stayed in the background, never caring about titles or credit. But now, seeing these same people who threw her out stand frozen in fear, she realized maybe it was time to step forward. Yet, behind the marble walls and polite smiles, Emily knew this spa hid more than luxury treatments. There were deals made, favors traded, secrets that could ruin reputations. And now, as the staff shifted nervously under Daniel's cold stare, she felt it all about to come undone. The manager stammered apologies Daniel didn't care to hear. He simply asked for the spa's director, the one person who should have known who Emily really was. A few employees hurried away, whispering frantically, their polished calm slipping as they realized this was no ordinary complaint. Guests, sensing the shift in the air, peeked from treatment rooms and behind velvet curtains, pretending to sip tea as they watched the drama unfold. Emily stood beside Daniel but kept her eyes on the gold leaf walls. She remembered when they first toured this place together. It had been a rundown building with peeling paint, but Daniel saw potential, and Emily saw a chance to create a peaceful retreat for women who rarely felt welcome in spaces like this. She'd picked out every tile, every oil diffuser, every flower arrangement. Yet somehow, these people decided she didn't belong in her own sanctuary. In the corner, a young receptionist looked at Emily with wide eyes. Unlike the others, she seemed genuinely worried. Emily caught her gaze and gave her a small nod, as if to say she wasn't angry at her. She knew the real problem was bigger than rude staff. It was about how the rich hid behind brands and marble walls, acting like kindness had a price tag. Meanwhile, Daniel's voice dropped to a whisper as he spoke to the spa's accountant, who had just arrived in a panic. Emily heard bits and pieces, something about missing funds, unauthorized accounts, secret commissions. Her mute stomach tightened. She'd trusted too many people to handle the day-to-day, while she stayed busy raising their kids and helping Daniel with other ventures. Had someone used her name to hide dirty money behind this luxury spa? At that moment, Emily's phone buzzed. It was a message from an old friend who used to handle the books here. For simple words, you need to look deeper. Emily's pulse quickened. She slipped the phone into her pocket, glancing at Daniel, who was still trying to keep things calm. But Emily knew calm wouldn't fix this. Somewhere inside these pretty walls, someone was hiding more than just arrogance. They were hiding secrets that could destroy everything she and Daniel built. And she was ready to find out exactly who. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she clutched her phone, feeling its weight like a secret she could no longer keep hidden. She could see Daniel's jaw tighten as the director finally appeared, a tall man in an expensive suit who tried to mask his surprise at seeing Daniel and Emily standing there like storm clouds in his polished lobby. The director put on a practiced smile, all warmth and charm, but Emily could feel the cold calculation behind his eyes. He greeted Daniel with a forced handshake and turned to Emily with a nod so slight it stung more than if he'd ignored her. He started to apologize for the unfortunate misunderstanding, but Daniel cut him off, asking him about the hidden accounts. The director's smile faltered just enough for Emily to see it, fear flickering behind his mask. Guests were now pretending to scroll their phones while secretly recording videos. The luxurious calm that usually floated through the spa was gone, replaced by whispers echoing off marble floors. The same people who once scoffed at Emily now watched her every move, sensing that something much bigger was unfolding right in front of them. Emily's thoughts raced. She remembered small things that didn't add up, shipments billed twice, extra charges she'd brushed aside, staff she never hired but somehow appeared on the payroll. She glanced at the young receptionist again. The girl was shifting nervously, her eyes darting between Emily and the director. Maybe she knew something too. Daniel's voice was calm but deadly sharp as he demanded the financial files. Right there in the middle of the lobby, the director laughed it off, saying this wasn't the place or time, but his voice cracked under the weight of Daniel's stare. Emily felt her pulse in her ears. She realized the truth wasn't just about money, it was about trust, power, and the people who thought they could play games under her nose. As the director whispered to his assistant to handle this quietly, Emily's eyes narrowed. She stepped closer to him, her voice low but steady. She told him she knew exactly whose name was on the deed of this spa, and it wasn't his. The director's smile vanished completely this time. Somewhere in the back, a door slammed as if someone had fled. Emily knew the chase had just begun, and when she turned back to Daniel, she saw in his eyes that they were ready to finish what they started together. Emily's heart raced as she watched the director's face lose its polished calm. For a moment, the entire spa seemed to hold its breath. Guests stood frozen. Staff pretended to busy themselves while listening to every word. And Daniel's eyes never left the director's trembling hands. Emily could feel they were close to cracking something wide open, but she also sensed they weren't seeing the whole picture yet. Just then, the young receptionist stepped forward, voice barely above a whisper. She asked Emily if they could talk privately, her eyes darting nervously at the director. Emily nodded, and Daniel gave her a subtle, reassuring glance. They slipped into a small back office lined with fancy brochures and half-dead orchids. The girl shut the door quickly and took a deep breath. She told Emily she'd seen things, transactions signed off at odd hours, people coming in late at night when the spa was closed, files disappearing from the computer system. She thought it was just shady accounting until last week when she overheard the director talking to someone about moving money.